himself. But how does the player rotation system work at Sundowns? Do you have a core 11 that you then swap out, or how do you guys sit back and put it all together?
It's a very complex situation, to be honest with you. Not easy for us as well as coaches. But what we always try to do is try to be honest and stay true to the process. If the previous team played very well and there is no reason to change because no one is injured, no one is suspended, we try to keep the same group. Maybe from substitutes, you start building yourself up into a starting player, like how Neo Mayema started to come into the fray. We gave him a chance as a substitute, and he kept on showing us that now I want to be the starter. And whenever there's an injury or a COVID situation or whatever medical reason, then you start your games. And if you don't keep your position, it will keep rotating like that. But the truth of the matter is, we are also helped by the unfortunate circumstances of COVID, unfortunate circumstances maybe of injuries and suspensions, where we end up changing players because one, for instance, very difficult to change the central defense. And more especially when that central defense is not even considered. Ricardo Nascimento had to wait for his turn for a very long time. He's been out of the medical room for a very long time, but he could not get a chance to start a match. So that's how difficult it is. But with the injury to Grant, injury to Musa Lebusa, then his opportunity came in. And he will have to fight for his place because if something happens and it warrants a change, then, but we try to be as consistent, and I think that is what helps the team a lot.
Key players for their teams before coming to Sundowns, coach, come to Sundowns, struggle to get a position, and one has to understand that you have to fight for it, like you've just said. But what do you say when you're speaking to players that are sitting on the bench, you know, the George Malulekas that I've mentioned a little bit earlier, who aren't regular starters, who'd like to be regular starters, the Lungas who are there, the Aubrey Modibas who are there, all these players that sit on the bench, there's Vilagazi as well when he is available, who'd love to be playing on the regular, who many might see as a starting player in any other team in the PSL. When you now motivate them and make them understand why they're not playing and keep them happy, how does that process even begin to work? Do you even have those conversations with those players, and what are their feelings?
Now, to be honest, it's a tough one, and it's not a terrain that everybody likes. A terrain of trying to motivate players, trying to make them aware that you value them, even in as much as you are not playing them. It's not for anyone. The truth of the matter is, we all find it very hard. But we have no choice as coaches. We must be proactive. Before players react to us, we have a responsibility to act. And our actions will always be to make sure that we make them aware of the challenges that we have prior to the season starting. We lay the foundation, and everybody understands the challenges that we are experiencing and the difficulty of changing the team time and time again. And to a certain extent as well, the other players are just unfortunate. I don't want to lie to you. A player like Villa sometimes would be training very well, and everybody's talking about him, and everyone wants to play Villa because he's been showing all the good signs. Then suddenly, Villa is injured. And that has happened with George as well, where he would train very well. We are all excited. We can see that he's now on his way up, and suddenly something happens. But at the moment, I want to say it publicly here, George has been training very well and he's been looking very sharp. He was unfortunate to get a small strain prior to the game of Baroka because he was very close to starting that match. But unfortunately, he got injured. Then now he has to come back again. But the good thing about him is one of the best professionals I've worked with, like Villa. Players that give their football everything. Players that, if you can look at George now, how much weight he has lost because he's trying to force himself into the team, and you can see the anger in his eyes to say, I want to start playing now for this team. And that is what you want as a coach. And I have no doubt that there is a very big possibility that he might become one of the most important players for the team coming into the new year if he can just stay away from injuries and God and his ancestors protect him.
Coach, let's move on from the players that obviously due to injury and all sorts of things and talk perhaps about Gaston Sirino. When you look at the last 2-3 seasons, he's been absolutely fantastic for you guys in scoring the goals and being active up front, supplying goals as well. What is going on with Gaston at the moment? I mean, you mentioned all of the injuries and the line at the medical center. He's not there.
He's also had some injuries at some point. We must also understand. But I think the biggest setback for Gaston, in my opinion, one, he did not start pre-season with the team. He came very late. And that has not helped him to really stamp his authority in the team, because even when he gets opportunities as a substitute, very few instances where he has come in and showed everybody that, hey, remember, Gaston is back. And at that time, unfortunately, now if you want to really build him up, it means you are building him up at the expense of players that are looking very good at that stage, or Neo Maema, or Kutumela, or Themba Zwane, and it becomes very difficult. And I remember last season, when we finished the season, Coach Steve Kondela made an example, which every player has a responsibility to put himself into the starting lineup of the team for that first match beginning of the season. And you do that with your maintenance training and making sure that your preseason is top. When you start, everybody starts at the same time. We work very hard to make sure that you stay within the team and you are not moving anywhere. And when you do that, you are helping yourself. But if, for whatever reason, you come back from home, you are overweight, or you join the team very late because you wanted to start the preseason late because of your own personal reasons and all that, you will have problems.
Does he want to leave, Coach Gaston? Is he happy at Sundowns, as far as you know?
I think he's happy at Sundowns because we've not had any offers of late of Gaston being wanted somewhere. But like we said even before, the technical team, if whichever club wants him, puts what Sundowns is happy with, I don't think Sundowns will stop anyone from going away. And even when the issue of Al-Ali was there, the issue was Sundowns was just not happy with what Al-Ali was providing, because they felt it was not any return to the value of investment that the club has made to Gaston. It was never an issue of the club not wanting to let him go.
But did this cause some sort of unhappiness with Gaston and you guys, Coach? Because did he want to go and then the money was just not good enough, or the value investment was not good enough? Was there some sort of then, him not being happy because of that deal not happening?
I don't think he would be happy. He's got a right to be unhappy. It's normal, because maybe already your personal terms would have improved in leaps and bounds and all that. But also the club must benefit from the investment that they have put in. It's not one-way traffic. It's not about the happiness of me as Mangcoba, but the club is not happy in the process. The club must say, we are happy to let you go. We've let other players to go before. Why would we not let you go? But the return on investment must also speak volumes in that space.
The rejuvenation of Andile, for instance, Themba Zwane. I mean, I heard a coach speak over the week, and he was saying that Sundowns with Themba Zwane are almost unstoppable. And then you've got the new boy, Neo Maema as well, doing incredibly well at the moment. Talk to me about, some of the things that have made Sundowns, what are some of the players that have put you where you are. And we can't not mention Maluleka, of course.
To be honest, it starts from the person himself. Before we give ourselves any credit, Themba Zwane is a professional and a star player for Sundowns. He's one player that works the hardest in terms of training. He's one very committed professional. I've been with Sundowns for more than 7 years now. And I don't remember one day it was Themba Zwane came late for training. Themba Zwane did not come to training. Themba Zwane had issues with the club, with the coach or anyone. He is committed to the game. The same would apply to Andile, current Andile that we have. We have not had any issues with Andile at all. I'll be lying to you if I say one day he came late for training, he did not come to training because there were issues of drinking and partying and all that. We've never had those issues. And I ask myself, what has happened to Andile? Is it us, the coaches, or is it him who has made a decision to say, now I want to focus on my career and not allow all these outside things to affect me? Because something has happened to him as a person. And I don't want to give the coaches credit, maybe. It's not us that has made the difference. Neo Maema, very good professional, hard-working boy, every training session, no issues. Never any chit-chat, any long face. You give an instruction, he follows, he works very hard, and he gives his best. I would go on to Kutumela, I would go on to Peter Shalulile, and all these players that we are talking about are the players that first, before they become players, I just feel they are also very good human beings and very good people who are willing to improve and learn and become better, and maybe they've got their goals set very high. You know, the other day we wanted to substitute Themba Zwane, and he comes to us and he says, coaches, I know you would want to substitute Mina, but I would want to continue in this match because I believe I've got a chance to surpass some of the records that I personally I would want to achieve. You know, when a player says that to you, it's already telling you it's not just about one match. It's about the season. I want to play 30 matches this season. I want to play so many matches. I want to score so many goals. I have a record to break. I've got this to break. When a player's goal setting is already in that direction, now I am saying, I want to go to the national team. I still want to go to Europe if there's a chance. I want to give my best shot because I believe I've got an opportunity because I've got the talent. That's why I'm saying it starts with the person. Peter Shalulile, no different. Maybe not the most talented player that you would think of. And for everybody would say, but Peter is not the most ideal player, ideal striker, what. But Peter makes his goals. Peter works the hardest. He gives everything into the team. His mentality is more like the mentality of a soldier. Every day, focused, ready to give the team what it wants from him. And no wonder at the end of the day, he becomes a very successful player because the universe will always support those who give their best in their craft.
What's been said about Themba Zwane at the moment being one of the greatest of his generation? How do you measure Themba Zwane with your coaching career and what you've seen?
To be honest, it will be very difficult for me to explain Themba because in my experience as a coach, I've coached a lot of very talented players, highly gifted, maybe some who could have been even more gifted than Themba. But Themba Zwane, differently from those players, he is a student of the game. He has no life outside football. He has no life. You've never heard anything being said about Themba Zwane outside football. Themba loves the game. Themba is more than passionate about his game. I would not be surprised if now you check where Themba Zwane is training somewhere, he's doing recovery somewhere, he's having a massage somewhere. His life revolves around his football. And because of that commitment, that is the commitment to time, energy, and effort to what he's doing, that is why it's easy for him to be successful. Themba Zwane, player of the season. The following season, Themba Zwane is a nominee. He's still there. He's still in that picture. Every season is more or less the same in terms of commitment and performance, regardless of what I've achieved the previous year. They are not driven by only the medals, but they are driven by something that comes from within.